I recently sat down for an interview with Mikel Delgado, a world-renowned cat behavior expert, and the topic quickly turned to declawing because both of our states, Minnesota and California, currently have bans in the legislature. I wanted to share the interview now so people have more information about why these bans are important and the negative impacts declawing can have on cats. Let's hear from Mikel. I want to talk about the topic of declawing because we both are in states right now that have declawing bans that are being considered, and I've made it no secret I'm very much in favor of these bans. Mikel, what are your thoughts on declawing?
Yeah, hate declawing. Wish it was illegal everywhere. It's very interesting. I was actually I worked with the Paw Project for many years. We had some citywide legislation in San Francisco and Berkeley that outlawed declawing in those cities, but of course they're surrounded by cities where declawing is still legal. So it's a hard law to enforce without veterinary buy-in, and that's one thing I've really found challenging. As non-veterinary behavior practitioners, I think we know that there are veterinarians that want people to stay in their lane, or and I get, we don't practice veterinary medicine. I try to avoid anything that's like practicing veterinary medicine very diligently. There is this kind of what I saw back in the early 2000s when these laws were coming to city council, was that the veterinary medical associations have a lot of trepidation about changes to what they can and can't do, right? And they see this as a slippery slope. I think there's a lot of hesitancy for veterinarians to get on board with this because they feel like it's infringing on their practice and dictating what they can and can't do. All I'll say is that other countries have no problem outlawing some of these, declawing is of course illegal in many other countries now. I'd say the UK, which is much more advanced on animal welfare than the United States, is really looking at things like the breeding of certain breeds of dogs and cats that are brachycephalic and have flat faces, which we know is detrimental to their health. They're trying to, actively ban things like ear cropping and tail docking and other procedures that we would consider more cosmetic or that don't serve a benefit for the animal, right? And so what do I think about declawing? I think declawing is unnecessary. I think it's inhumane. It deprives cats of a very important natural behavior, which is scratching, which serves multiple functions for them, from displacement for stress, marking their territory, stretching their back muscles, communicating with visual and olfactory signals. So it serves no benefit to the cat. And we also know now, I think for many years, we all observed cats coming into the shelter system that were declawed and had litter box problems, had aggression problems. And of course, sure, there are cats that are not declawed that have litter box problems. It's different when you have an animal that's been deliberately mutilated. I consider declawing mutilation. To now rehabilitate and rehome that cat, it's very different from a cat who's physically intact and healthy and that can live outdoors if they need to on in a barn or whatever, versus a cat who has limited ability to defend themselves. So it wasn't until 2017 there was a publication that finally supported what most of us suspected, which is that these cats are experiencing pain. Many of these cats, up to 2/3 of them, have bony regrowth, meaning that the declaw surgery was unsuccessful in actually fully amputating the last digit of the paws, and now they're experiencing basically a pebble in the shoe kind of situation because there's regrowth there. And these cats were more prone to litter box avoidance, biting and scratching. So there is really, from a behavioral perspective, we should see this as a serious problem. And, and again, it gets back to people, well, not my cat, not my declawed cat, right? So yeah, your declawed cat didn't have litter box problems. Well, great for you, but your cat still cannot engage in natural behaviors. And your cat would not have chosen to be declawed if they had any say in the matter. Then you get other people like, well, what about, we spay and neuter our cats and they don't have any say in that either. And sure, I think we're looking at population-wide, what is the greater good given the kind of reproductive abilities of cats and their, ability as a species to survive and invade, and the fact that we have to accept that, okay, we as humans have decided that we want to keep companion animals and this is an important part of our lives. So how do we best do this? Minimizing the damage to wildlife / whatever, and also doing what's best for cats. So I think it's very hard to defend declawing. Yeah, I don't think it's a defensible procedure. I don't think veterinarians should perform it. I don't think that this myth that it keeps cats in their home is...
No.
Does everybody have to have a cat? And if you cannot tolerate a little bit of damage to your home, or you do not have the patience to train your cat to use a scratching post or even provide them with a scratching post, which not all people do, then maybe you should have a stuffed animal. I think
Again, like,
from an ethical perspective, I think we really have to recognize that we are making a choice to care for a cat, and that comes with certain risks and responsibilities. And it also comes with certain
things you have to do.
Yeah, there's certain obligations to preserve that animal's well-being. And that is your responsibility, is to give your cat the best life they can have. That is reasonable. I don't think it's unreasonable to expect that you will need to have a cat tree and scratching posts and multiple litter boxes. Like, these are basics of care. And so I think we should be emphasizing that and helping people achieve those kind of goals. I don't see how declawing fits into that. Yeah, it breaks my heart. It's one of those things that I wish we didn't have to have this discussion. I wish we didn't have to argue about it in front of city councils or other government bodies. And I wish veterinarians, and of course there are many veterinarians that are opposed to declawing. Denise Johnson is a great example of someone who's very outspoken as a veterinarian and advocate for cats. But I wish more veterinarians.
This is not a knock on veterinarians. There's a lot of them that are,
not
like,
at all.
doing great work. There's a lot of them that are spending the time to talk with like their clients about like alternatives and being like, here's how you manage scratching, and like they're trying to actually help both the humans and the cats in a way that preserves this natural behavior and this doesn't have the same negative consequences for the cat.
Yeah, and I think there's some veterinarians who are against declawing but don't like the legislative part of it, right? They're like, well, I don't do it, but I just don't want you to tell me what to do. But I think ultimately there are times that we have to legislate change when it comes to animal welfare and in order to protect animals. This is one of those cases. I don't see how we can continue to justify it. Now we have strong evidence that this causes a lot of physical problems for cats. It causes emotional problems for cats. And how do we justify? I mean, if you didn't want your cat to get the zoomies and run around and be a little banshee, would that justify cutting off all their legs?
We both see aggression cases where the cat is scratching and or biting, and I've heard people who've been like, well, I'm thinking about declawing my cat to address the aggression, which doesn't get the core underlying issue. And also teeth. They still have teeth. They're which are bad weapons.
Yes. I mean, getting bitten, I'd rather get scratched than bit.
Yeah,
personally.
100%. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, well, what's next? Are you going to remove their teeth too? Which, please don't do that. I don't know how you feel about this, but I find that destructive scratching of the behavior concerns that people have, that one is typically so much easier to manage than it's one of the easier to get it contained or minimized. There's so many tools, and sometimes it's just moving a scratching post or getting a better scratching post or my favorite, catnip. There's things
or even using positive reinforcement, right? If your cat has a choice to scratch the couch or scratch the scratching post and they get treats for scratching the scratching post, try that. It actually does work. And the sad thing too is, a lot of kittens are declawed when they're spayed and neutered. They're not even given a chance to learn, to use a scratching post. It's so easy. It's a natural behavior. You just have to give them the appropriate outlet for it, right? And so I just think that there are so many other options. Declawing is permanent. It's painful. And it's unnecessary. That's my pitch.
Yeah, we are on the same page. I just want to say this too, because as a human medical professional, one of the arguments I see in favor of declawing is for the human medical side, where they'll be like, oh, it's safer for them. And I disagree with that very strongly, where I've said it before. I would go so far as to say it's potentially malpractice for a human medical professional, a PA, an NP, a doctor, to say that you should get your cat declawed, because it doesn't address the biting part of it, which is still dangerous, and it can create so many other issues. And we know that there's been studies that have been done that if you look at what parts of having an animal in your home can create stress, one of them is cats having behavior concerns. You're creating problems for your patient if you're a human medical professional and making that suggestion. So
and the CDC has never recommended
frustrating. Yeah, it's CDC, like a lot of the human medical, I think it's one of the infectious disease ones. I can't remember the name of it, but they're like, no, don't do this. It's not a good idea.
It doesn't fix, it's not addressing, again, because we're not addressing the root problems anyway. So I think, I mean, sure, if I'm not saying that people don't have like thinner skin as they age. Someone just told me about her mom put on a sock and then it was like a murder scene, just putting on a sock. I was like, oh geez, this is like what I have to look forward to. But but again, if your cat is biting or scratching, there's other ways to address that situation, and declawing your cat is not it's not a substitute for giving your cat an outlet for natural behaviors, and it's not a substitute for behavior modification and meeting your cat's emotional and physical needs, etc., etc. So just don't do it. Please. Even if you've done, in the past, your cats were fine, like, you thought they were fine, they probably had pain, just trust us on this one.
I think we see the cases that, like, there are the long-term consequences sometimes where we'll get a lot of, like, older declawed cats with, like, litter box issues or, again, aggressive behaviors. And I don't know about you, but I find those cases to be harder to, like, help people with. They are tough. Like... It's like a super litter box problem compared to like a regular one where I'm like, man, like...
The cat has had a lot of negative experiences around going to the bathroom, probably because of the pain in their paws. So to undo that, sometimes these cats need repair surgery. They need pain medication. They've had like years of bad experiences around the litter box. So it can be very tough to get them back, for sure.
There's a lot of wonderful veterinarians out there doing a lot of good work with like the repair surgeries. I've seen that, like, it's very nice to see some of them out there, like, really helping these cats.
Agree.
So any suggestions for people who live in a state that is considering a declawing ban, what they can do to help encourage their legislators to pass this? Do you have any suggestions for tools that people can use or resources for them?
First of all, always check the Paw Project's website. So it's pawproject.org. They are spearheading a lot of this work, and if they aren't behind the scenes, they know about it, and they have lots of really good advice on approaches and like templates for letters and what to say, what not to say. But definitely write to your local officials, whatever level of government. Usually writing a letter of support to the sponsors of the bill is a good place to start. Show up at meetings if they have public comment times where you can go and express your opinions. There's the appeal on the animal welfare side, but there's also the evidence that we have that this is not a good outcome for cats and that it causes a lot of pain. People need to hear, I think, from the community that have and love cats that this is not something most of us are doing. Like, we don't think this is right, and we don't think other people should do it, and it's not justified by I want to have cats and I don't want them to do X, Y, or Z. So speak out. Paw Project has some bumper stickers and shirts and stuff if you want to, be a public voice to end declawing. Be outspoken about it. We got to stand up for the kitties.
Yeah. And I also think, too, emphasizing the benefits to the humans, because it really does benefit us, ultimately, to let your cats keep their claws. End of the day, it preserves the human-animal bond. I also, again, one of the things I see is that, declawing prevents euthanasia. And if you look at, I think it was Quebec or some Canadian province, banned it, and they looked at, the rates of, euthanasia in the shelter, and it didn't.
Yeah. I think it was BC.
BC, okay, yeah. I was it's so. Canada's awesome. I love Canada.
Yeah, it didn't hurt any. I think people are all these cats will end up in the shelter if they're not declawed, and it's no. People will adapt, and as we previously said, it's illegal in lots of other countries. This is not a necessary procedure. So
there are alternatives that are easy and not expensive, and you just need to know a little bit about what you're doing. And if you're really stuck, there's people who can help you figure out what to do without resorting to declawing.
Yes, 100%.
So,
putting a little plug for our profession. This is what we
I was
do.
gonna say, like, yeah, like, I think a lot of people, like, realize, like, oh, dog trainers are a thing, or there's people who can help with your dog, but don't realize that people like us exist, that we can help you with your cat. Parts of it'll be fun, your cat won't hate it, and we're fun people. If you're looking for more resources on what you can do to help pass a declawing ban in your locality, check out the description. I'll include some links to resources there. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, let your cats keep their claws. They need them.